It is November in West Michigan. The skies are gray. Football's still in full gear at all levels, but basketball's starting to warm up. And this weekend, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Calvin University is the epicenter of NCAA Division III basketball. The Great Lakes Invitational, hosted by Calvin, here in Grand Rapids, features 8 of the top programs in America in D3. And today we've already seen 2 games and 4 teams. Tonight we begin the second session, the evening session on Friday, with a matchup between John Carroll University out of Ohio and Johns Hopkins out of Maryland. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Calvin University. My name is Bob Sack. I'll have all the play-by-play for you this evening between John Carroll and Johns Hopkins. Rick Wesley is alongside me. Rick, the former head basketball coach at Grand Valley State University in nearby Allendale. And we think we've got a terrific matchup for this evening affair. Rick, John Carroll and Johns Hopkins, and you really like this John Carroll team coming into the season ranked number 3 in preseason D3.
Yeah, no question. It's exciting to be back in the gym. Really looking forward to this game. 2 great teams. John Carroll very much has a feel of a team that has a destiny. You can just talk to their coach. You can see it. You can feel it. Had a great team last year, senior laden this year. Preseason All-American and Luke Chone on their team. So they certainly are headed toward big things. But I think Johns Hopkins is a formidable opponent. They too are coming off a very good year last year, have their own outstanding player with John Windley. So I think it could be a good matchup.
Johns Hopkins comes in at 2-1. They have a victory over Marymount, Virginia, York, Pennsylvania, and a loss to Salisbury. 3-0 is the record for John Carroll. Albertus Magnus, Penn State, Harrisburg, and State University of New York, Brockport are their 3 victims to start this season. Rick mentioned the top billing of this basketball game today is in fact John Carroll's preseason All-American Luke Chone. He's averaging 18 points a game, 6.3 assists a game, second team All-American last year, and he will be one to watch, a dynamic and exciting player. Johns Hopkins, led by a player you mentioned, John Windley, averaging 22 points and 9 rebounds per game and hitting at 3 3-pointers a game. So we've got some really exciting players in here as well, Rick, and I think we'll watch today to see if Johns Hopkins has enough other players to help out. Let's head over to our PA announcer, Jason Fossey, with tonight's starting lineups.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Van Ord Arena on the campus of Calvin University for Game 3 of the 2024 Great Lakes Invitational. Our next matchup features the Blue Streak of John Carroll University and the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins University. Let's meet the starters from both teams. First up, we have the Blue Streak of John Carroll. Number 2, a 5'10" senior, Luke Chone. A 6'7" senior, number 3, Will Yontek. A 6'1" senior, number 4, Chase Toppin. A 6'6" senior, number 5, Luke Frazier. And a 6'7" senior, number 20, Henry Rayner. The Blue Streak are coached by Pete Morin in his 8th season. And now let's meet the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins University. A 6'6" senior, number 4, Brian Johansson. A 6'3" senior, number 10, John Windley. A 6'6" sophomore, number 13, Jeb Williams. A 6'7" junior, number 22, Tanati Felly. And a 6'4" junior, number 23, Charlie Jackson. The Blue Jays are coached by Ryan Kane in his second season.
That's today's starting lineups presented by Mercantile Bank here in Michigan. Merc Perks checking account throughout the state at Mercantile Bank. Johns Hopkins out of the Centennial Conference. John Carroll out of the Ohio Athletic Conference. Our Mercantile are planning for success. Keys to the game. Rick Wesley, one or two thoughts on what each of these two teams need to do to win?
Well, I think you'll see John Carroll really likes to play up-tempo, really get after you. So, for them, they just want to get the game going. And I think Johns Hopkins, their big challenge is to control that tempo. They're going to want to do just the opposite, keep it a little bit slower pace, keep it to a half-court game, not turn the ball over.
That's Planning for Success, presented by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing the financial clarity, solutions, and service that allow you to focus on what you care about most. John Carroll dressed in the blue jerseys with gold trim. Johns Hopkins in the white jerseys with dark blue navy numbers and light blue trim. Tonti Felly set to jump against Henry Rayner. And we are underway for this third of 4 games today of the Great Lakes Invitational. Luke Chone, player to watch. Number 2, the senior from Mentor, Ohio, comes into this game with gaudy numbers: 18 points per game, 6 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game. He can do it all. All-American from John Carroll. Fall-away jumper from the right elbow from Chase Toppin is short, and the Blue Jays control the rebound.
You see right away, John Hopkins is a little more patterned offense. John Carroll a little bit more free-flowing, lots of ball screens.
John Windley into the lane. He's their leading scorer, has it swatted away, and a good play by
Shots
Rayner.
blocked out of bounds.
Windley,
Possession.
6'3", 195-pound senior from Brentwood, Tennessee, averaging 22 points a game coming into this 4th contest.
John Hopkins really needs for him to have a big game.
Charlie Jackson called for traveling, turns it back over to John Carroll. Rick, how about the fact that all 5 starters for John Carroll are seniors? Impressive.
You don't see that very often, although several of them are transfers, so they'd already been someplace else before they got there, which happens so much now.
Luke Chone from
nice pass.
Beautiful dump to Henry Rayner. Speaking of transfers, great point. Chone, the Youngstown State transfer, dishes to Rayner, the transfer from Hillsdale.
Full court pressure by John Carroll, a little bit of a 1-2, 1-1 press. Trying to get Hopkins to play a little faster than what they'd like.
Will Jantek, another starter. Where's number 3? He's a transfer from Marietta.
You see it, John Carroll really getting up, being aggressive. Hopkins' ability to handle that ball, draw some early fouls, maybe get him in foul trouble could really be beneficial.
2-0, just underway. Glad you joined us on this Friday evening. It's an event that's got the feel of the kind of feast week events you see on ESPN and Division I, right? With just the early season, good teams, good matchup.
Great matchup here with Windley versus Luke Chone, 2 of the better D3 players in the country going head-to-head. You don't see that often.
Chone gives up some size. He's 5'11". Windley at 6'3". Between the circles, Jeb Williams, watched by Chone. Tonti Felly. Deep 3 on the way, splashed down by Brian Johansson. Comes into the game 5 of 12 from downtown. Gives the Blue Jays the early lead over the Blue Streaks. Good strong low post move, wouldn't go from Will Jantek, 6'7" senior from Independence, Ohio. St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland.
Oh, nice job.
All the way to the hole for 2 is Brian Johansson.
Johansson's one of the other seniors on the team. Really need his leadership in games like this.
Chone creates space. Couldn't get the right elbow jumper to fall. Out ahead of the pack is Jeb Williams, and just like that, Johns Hopkins has responded after that first Blue Streaks basket with 7 unanswered. Henry Rayner spinning in the lane. Leaves it for a misfired 3 by Jantek. Controlled by Charlie Jackson. Tonti Felly, the 6'7", 225-pounder from Scottsdale, Arizona. Dumps it off to John Windley, and their top scorer, who has led them in scoring each of the 3 games, buries that triple to give the Blue Jays a 10-2 lead.
Well, this is just what Johns Hopkins had hoped for, I'm sure.
Pull-up jumper from the right side by Frazier's in and out. You're absolutely right.
Good start.
Ryan Kane's got to be delighted the way this game has started.
Heat check. Holy
Goodness.
Johansson is
downtown. Johansson red hot.
Ready to play.
Start this game with 16:34 to go. Johns Hopkins surprising all of us here with a hot start. Up by 11 points. Well, Rick, you coached at Grand Valley State University, and I'm trying to think back then. It's not like it was that long ago, but you've been retired for a little bit, my friend.
Yeah.
These types of events in November, pre-Thanksgiving, before the conference season would start, what did you try to gain from these when you had these wonderful matchups against formidable opponents?
Well, every year is a little different depending on whether you have veterans or whether you have young guys, but I was always stressed no matter what the situation. But I think especially early in the year, you're just trying to figure your team out, trying to get a rhythm, trying to get an identity, trying to carve out roles, get your substitution patterns down. So, you're far from a finished product, and you feel that way. But certainly having veterans gives you a better sense of confidence.
Chacon dumps it down low to Jantek. He backs in on Felly, and they'll call Felly for the push. You talk about that. John Carroll, 6 of their top 7 players returned, whereas Johns Hopkins, 3 of their top 5 scorers from last year graduated.
Okay.
So 2 teams early in the first couple weeks of the season in very different stages.
Yeah, Coach Kane talked to me about that. 7 seniors last year, and really a lot of his primary ball handlers. So going against a defensive pressure type team like John Carroll, that was his big concern. Thus far, they've handled the pressure well.
They sure have. Rayner dumps it down low to Ciccone, and he has been held in check in the early going, the All-American. Whistle, and not sure what that stoppage of play was for.
3 officials have worked several of my games over the years. I was surprised they came over and gave me a little handshake before the game. Made me feel good. I told them I would be nice to them.
Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian Johansson has had the hot hand in the early stage.
Okay. Nice.
Quickly back the other way. Jumper from Luke Frazier off the mark, and John Carroll really struggling in the early going. Just 1 of 7 from the field. Meanwhile, Hopkins 5 of 6. Johansson eyes the 3. Instead, spins in the lane, tied up in traffic there. But they're going to call a foul on David Gentry now into the game.
Close call there. Could have gone either way. Could have been a jump. Johansson being very aggressive, though, here early, which has really paid off for Johns Hopkins. As other guys are trying to find their way, he seems to come out really ready to play.
Chance to share with fans watching across the country right now a little bit about Calvin University, the tournament host. I'll tell you that enrollment at Calvin continues to climb for the 2nd straight year. Calvin is experiencing a double-digit percentage uptick in its first-year class. The 1,200 new students represent undergraduate and graduate learners from dozens of states and 46 countries around the world. Discover why Calvin is in demand. Schedule a visit and learn more at calvin.edu. Well, keys to the game so far has been, you talked about the pace, and one of the other keys to the game is Luke Chone, the All-American from John Carroll, 0 for 4 from the field so far. Just has not been able to get untracked after some big outings already this season. 27 points against Albertus Magnus, 11 assists, 15 of 18 from the line. So far, Ryan Kane's got to be pleased with the way his team has checked the All-American.
No question. He's the kind of kid, though. He's a tough competitor. He'll find his way at some point. You just hope, for Hopkins' standpoint, they hope it's later than sooner.
Logan Feller, number 2, on the wing for Windley. He's had 1 field goal today. He drives to the lane and swatted away from behind by Luke Frazier. Went off Johns Hopkins. Good defensive set there for the Streaks.
Luke Frazier is equally, maybe not equally, but certainly a super talented player as well for Johns Hopkins. Hasn't really had many opportunities yet.
Chacon walled off by Nick Klaber. Now into the game, number 5. Baseline jumper from Frazier. Misfires, hauled down by Windley. Windley step back, top of the key, triple off the flange. Battle for the ball, grabbed by Feller.
Yeah,
right wing they go to Klaber, and he traveled.
It's a little too fast there. And again, I think that's a real key for Hopkins. You know, take your opportunities when they're there, but don't play at a frantic pace.
John Carroll fade a little bit here of hope in the first part of the game. Dutchman struggled to score, had 8 points after 14.5 minutes in a game that was just won by St. John's. Just 2 points in nearly 6 minutes for John Carroll.
Interesting, John Hopkins, they don't really have a true point guard, it doesn't seem like, but they have, everybody can handle the ball a little bit, and I think that's helped them thus far dealing with the pressure.
Jantek working against Klaber, now double teamed by Will Stevenson in the corner. Pull up long 3, won't go from Chase Toppin, who's checked in for the Streaks. And Hopkins goes back to work on the offensive end. Luke Thorberg, number 1. Grad transfer from Sugar Land, Texas, via Case Western, checks in. And his shot is swatted away by that interior of the Streaks defense. In transition, Toppin. Finds to Chacon between the circles. He'll reset. Working against Jeb Williams.
Man, great defense there by Jeb Williams.
1 for 10 from the field now for John Carroll. Klaber spins in the lane. Nice delivery to Williams. Back to Klaber. Rattles home a 3. And it's 16-2 with under 13 to play here in the first half.
Man.
Good drive by Toppin. Dumped it off to Jantek. He could not finish.
There's a lid on the basket. Ooh. They've had a number of easy opportunities. They just cannot finish.
Between the rings, Klaber. Long 3 on its way, short by Jeb Williams. Cleared by Toppin. In transition, Chacon to the hole with a right hand. Switched hands nicely in the air. Drew the foul. Maybe that's what he needs to get going to the free throw line and get the ball in the basket.
I mean, you can tell he's not the kind of guy. He's not going away. He's got a bulldog mentality about him.
Sporting the neon green shoes today. They certainly stand out on the floor, don't they?
John Carroll, he has a little bit more of a ball-dominant type team, whereas with Chone and Luke Frazier maybe handling the ball the majority of the time, other guys setting screens for them, whereas Johns Hopkins is a little bit more, everybody in the team handles the ball a little bit.
Chone got them both. He'll sit down for a breather. Luke Frazier replaces him. And after scoring the game's first basket in the first minute, Rick, that's the first points in 7 minutes by John Carroll.
Wow.
Hopkins up 15-4 into the front court. Charlie Jackson leaves for Williams.
We'll see if Chase Toppin gets going here a little bit. I think he's a very capable player. On a lot of teams, he'd be the speaker. Almost called that one, Bob.
You did. Rims out on
I think he's, very good player. He happens to play with a couple great players. Any other team, he might be the leading scorer. Now with Chone out of the game, it'd be a good time for him to be a little bit more aggressive.
Toppin averaged 10 points a game last season, just under 9 coming into this one. Winley to the hole with the left hand, pushed by Henry Rayner as he elevated for the shot, and John Winley will go to the free throw line. Timeout with 11:42 to go here in the first half. 15-4, Johns Hopkins. Time now for the Great Lakes Invitational schedule, brought to you by NAI Wasinski of West Michigan, West Michigan's largest independently owned commercial real estate firm. 2 games in the books in this 8-game weekend. La Crosse from Wisconsin blew open a close game midway through the first half. Actually down to Marietta 19-12, and then just went on a tear. Ended up leading by 23 at the break. Cruised to a 99-75 win over Marietta in the opener. St. John's held hope to a dismal 30% shooting night, and the Johnnies knocked off the Dutchman 64-48 in the game just completed. John Carroll and Johns Hopkins, of course, right now. Later tonight, Emory in town to wrap up the day against Calvin. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Hope and Marietta. 3 o'clock, Johns Hopkins and La Crosse. 5:30, John Carroll and Emory, and 7:30, St. John's and Calvin.
During a timeout, just watching John Carroll down there in their timeout huddle. It's like a family reunion. Coach Moran's got 2 of his brothers on his staff, and Luke Chone is his nephew. So it's like they go on Thanksgiving break and they still are all together, I guess.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier in the day. Jim Timmer, the AD here at Calvin, talking about just so much of that legacy in D3. I think you see a lot more of that, the family traditions. Pat McKenzie, the head coach of St. John's, who just won the game, was a point guard for the Johnnies. His father was a point guard for the Johnnies, and his brother was a point guard for the Johnnies. And that kind of legacy just seems to prevail in D3.
Well, lots of family members, and I think 3 of their starters are from Cleveland St. Ignatius High School. So you can really see why they have great chemistry on the floor. A lot of connections. Outstanding
athletic program in Cleveland. Winley hit 1 of 2. 12-point lead, and the Blue Jays force a turnover. Now Williams coughs it up, and back the other way comes Chase Toppin. Hesitation move. Finds an open corner 3 for Adam Fitzgerald in the game now. Wouldn't go. Good battle on the sideline between Jantek and Thorburn. And Thorburn grabs a floor burn on that one, and ball goes over to John Carroll.
Just nothing easy in the paint from either team. They've missed some easy ones, but there's strong bodies, always contested. You're gonna have to make some shots in this game.
Chacon back in the lineup after that brief rest. Finds Gentry for an open left wing 3, leaves it short into the hands of Wyatt Eglinton Manor, a freshman from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Now into the game, number 3. Penetrating the lane is Johansson. He's back in the lineup after that hot start. Poked by Gentry, and foul goes on David Gentry.
Johansson's a tough matchup. He's got good size, 6'5", 6'6", but he can handle the ball, can shoot. He's also strong enough to go finish at the basket. he seems to be the one player who's found an advantage out there.
8 points for Brian Johansson, leads all scores, the 6'6", 200-pounder from New Jersey. Here's a turnover. There's your guy, Chase Toppin.
I like him. He's gotten more aggressive here as half is going on. And this gives them a chance now to press. They make a basket, and this is where they're tough.
16-6. Chone forces a turnover and finds Toppin on a nice dish from Frazier. And just like that, the lead is cut by 4. Now Hopkins maintains just an 8-point edge. Trapped in the backcourt is Windley, and then he's fouled, or he delivers it to Manor.
I think that just gave us a little taste right there of what makes John Carroll good. If they can score and they can get that full court press set up, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, and then with the shooting struggles they had in the first half of the half, they really never had a chance to set up that press. And you're right, now we've seen it.
So it all goes hand in hand. Hopkins, they've got to enjoy being on offense. Take what's there. But
Johansson eyed the 3, now probes the lane, has his running layup rejected. Chone into the front court to Frazier. Behind the back in the lane, pull up from 12, short, pinballed around and finally hauled down by Charlie Jackson. Windley drives it and then kicks it to Brian Johansson. He drains another one, his third 3 of the night.
Tough decision there on defense. You can't not help on Windley, but then it left this next best player wide open.
Chase Toppin, right side. Sean Collins now in the game.
Wow, okay.
Drives down and lays it in. 6'5" junior from Mentor, Ohio's on the board. It's 19-10. Windley between the circles. Averaged 15.5 last year. And Johansson in the lane, called for traveling. Feel the game start to settle in a little bit after a tough start for John Carroll, and see now how they peck away.
Hopkins has been tough, though, on their half-court defense. When they've been set up here, they're not giving you anything easy.
Chone still looking for his first field goal. Underneath it goes to Jantek, and his ball fake drew Johansson up in the air, and Johansson comes down on a foul. No shot. They'll give them the ball out of bounds. 6 fouls on John Carroll midway through this first half, 5 on Hopkins. Tough work inside from Jantek, couldn't get it to drop. Into the front court. Quickly, it's Jeb Williams to the hole, and he lays it in.
Nice. Really good move there. He's a nice player. Had a great freshman year last year. Looking for big things out of him this year.
Offensive foul on Sean Collins. And so far, I like the way Hopkins has answered. Boy, every time you feel like that momentum's starting to shift a little bit.
If they can get their defense set on the half court, they've been very good. It's just those turnovers in the open floor, and they're not set, and that's John Carroll. That's their game. Here's what they're trying to create again with their press, trying to get some turnovers.
Blue Jays break the press. Williams steps back on Rayner and
two
rattles it
shots
home.
in a row. Had a good layup and came right back and knocked that open 3 in.
Open 3 for Rayner. That rims out. Underneath, Jantek had Windley posted up, and Windley reached around and grabs him for the foul with 7:37 to go.
See some guys starting to get winded now. This last 5 minutes here, 7 minutes of the half could really make a big difference. Guys starting to get fatigued. Got some subs in there.
Time now for a chance to get to know the tournament host today, Calvin University. This month in Calvin sports history, presented by Applied Innovation, highlighting the 2010 Calvin Women's Volleyball National Championship team. Captured the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association regular season, and later the national title with a 32-4 record, including a national title win in the match over Emory University, who will play Calvin tonight in the nightcap. That's this month in Calvin athletics history, presented by Applied Innovation, connecting alums all over the Midwest for 35 years.
Johns Hopkins getting a little contribution from a lot of guys. Jeb Williams just had a really nice little flurry there. Claver came off the bench, did a good job.
Got to feel good if you're Ryan Kane that your leading scorer, John Windley, is just 1 for 4, and yet you're up by 11.
But Luke Frazier as well, though, has not yet found his way, and he's a very talented player.
Henry Rayner underneath. Good spin move on Felly. Banks it off the glass and in.
I think in the half court, Rayner and Yatek, they might need to pound that ball in there a little bit better versus the ball screen offense they've been running.
You mentioned
Hopkins is really defending those ball screens well.
You mentioned Frazier, 0 for 4 from the field. Hopkins doubling up the blue streaks thus far. 3-ball. Won't go, quickly out the other way. Chone, and he's finally on the board. His first field goal. Luke Chone.
Open floor opportunity. Again, Hopkins wants to stay out of those situations.
Top side, Thorburn directs traffic. Right sided Johansson. Trying to clamp down on him. And there's 11 points here in the first half. 3 of them from beyond the arc. 5 on the shot clock. Felly working on Frazier underneath, or rather Jantek underneath. Tough angle, huh?
Yeah,
Baked it in from
big shot.
Nearly the baseline. Chacon turned away by Claver's, done a really good job on Chacon. Rayner gets downhill, draws the foul. Good offensive set there, really cleared out that lane well.
Yeah, really good ball movement. Yeah, they've kind of gone away from their side ball screen action, just a little bit more pass and cut, and their big guys have found some opportunities now.
Gary Rayner to the free throw line, where he is looking for his first points. A couple of field goals.
Some mass substitutions here, guys, starting to get a little winded.
Rayner, a 6'7" senior from Lakewood, another one of those St. Ignatius guys. Started his career at Hillsdale. Former Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Association school.
There's that press again. Let's see how Hopkins handles it.
Blue Jays by 10. Blue Streaks press. Slows the offense, but Hopkins gets it across. I keep wanting to call Hopkins Creighton. Creighton Blue Jays. Same colors. Don't they kind of look?
Blue Streaks, Blue Jays.
Yeah.
John Hopkins, John Carroll. A lot of confusion.
Foul away from the shot. It'll send Will Stevenson to the stripe. Averages 15 minutes a game. 3 points a game. 6'9", 220-pound sophomore out of New York City.
Good-looking young player. These are big for him to get a couple buckets. Felly making that bank shot. Getting contributions from a lot of spots.
Got them both.
Johansson's on the bench getting a little rest. They're not losing any ground.
Maiden Fitzgerald back in for John Carroll, number 12. Open for a great point three as Jantek rolls around, pinballed out, and eventually into the hands of Frazier. He cannot convert. Yanked away by Nick Klaber.
Klaber's done well in the minutes he's gotten. He's made a real contribution.
In and out from Windley. Yeah, Klaber not much to show on the score sheet, but he's played really well defensively. There's a reach in on Will Stevenson. And that will send Harry Rayner to the stripe. 1-1.
They've really, about a couple minutes ago, they made a change, and they've really gone more to pounding that ball inside, which has gotten to the free throw line, gotten them some opportunities.
Pretty clean game so far, Rick. Just 6 turnovers for Hopkins and 3 for John Carroll. As hard as these defenses are getting after it, both offenses doing a good job taking care of the ball. 28-16, Blue Jays on top. Windley eyes the three, now drives, and there's a reach on Chone. He comes up a little gimpy and heads right to the bench.
Right to the bench, into the locker room. That's not a good sign.
Well, he knew it too, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't really see that he did anything so severe there. He very well could have had an injury going into it. I know Coach Moran had mentioned Luke Frazier was coming off some illness as well, so certainly not what you want to see.
Last year, John Carroll was 26-3, 17-1 in the Ohio Athletic Conference, en route to that regular season championship. In the Centennial Conference, Johns Hopkins was 20-7, 15-3. So, 2 teams coming off really good years. Windley got them both, 30-16, 4:50 to go.
Johns Hopkins just wants that clock to run. Let's just get to halftime. You still got a good amount here to go. Got a nice lead, 14-point lead. You don't want to let it slip away in the last 4 minutes, 50 seconds of the half. Certainly hope Luke Chone can come back. Hope we can just tape it up and really move forward.
D3 Datacast is hosted and written by Matt and Zach Snyder. The Snyder brothers are grads of Calvin and avid followers of D3 basketball. The show takes a lighthearted approach to D3 basketball and typically involves data and discussions on efficiency ratings, regional rankings, NCAA tournament selections, and computer predictions of big games. Be sure to check it out at d3datacast.com. How do you feel about the way that tournament fields have been picked more and more by numbers as opposed to smoke-filled rooms in the eye test?
I don't like it. The numbers, you can manipulate the numbers. And,
top end on the left side, he draws the foul.
So many times it's, beating good teams gives you more numbers. And so, like whoever wins this game here today, this is a huge win. Now, what can happen, though, is as the season goes on, I don't wish anybody bad. Let's just say Johns Hopkins never wins another game. Well, by the end of the year, the numbers would say this is not a good win. And so, things like that happen all the time. At the time that you play a team, they're much different than what they're evaluated at the end of the year.
And that's not typically, that's not taken into consideration.
Only if you're Duke and you have an injured player, then everybody in America feels bad for you. But if you lose a good player in the other school, well, it's just tough luck.
Toppin splits the pair, 30-17 with 4:30 to play here in this first half. Topside Tonti Felly back in the game. Nice. Wheels it around to Lindley for an open three. Good set.
Good set. Played through the high post. Big guy. Felly handled the ball very well there.
16-point lead. Topside. Jantek spins on Felly, gets him up in the air, and draws the contact.
Yeah. In the half court, John Carroll hasn't been real pretty, but just getting it close to the basket has been their best offense. And getting to the free throw line.
So, Rick, how well as a coach are you prepared if you're Pat Moran? You lose a guy like Luke Chone. We're not sure if he's back today or not, but how well are you prepared this early in the season to adjust without your star player?
You're not well in good shape if you lose your best player in most situations. But I will say he's got some tremendous other players, seniors here. And I mentioned Top. And I think he could really step it up. Luke Frazier's competent. And you've seen their big guys now, Rayner and Jantek. I mean, those guys are all talented guys, so they're good enough even without him to be a very good team. Certainly with him, they're better. But
up by 15, Winley between the rings. Flips it right side for a step-in jumper. Good by
rotation.
Charlie Jackson. Good patience on that possession. Foul on Thorburn, and that sends us to a media timeout. Chance to share with you a little more about the host school here of this Great Lakes Invitational. College education prepares you not only for your first job, but to thrive throughout your entire life. It's of great value. Calvin University offers that to its students and has come up with a number of ways to help all families make college more affordable. 100% of incoming Calvin students receive financial aid. Discover the many scholarships and grants you have access to at calvin.edu. Just search financial aid. Last year, this event was in Wittenberg, Ohio. Wabash the year before, Marietta the year before. Later this weekend, we'll find out the site for the 2025 Great Lakes Invitational.
We talked about early in the season what you're looking for. You don't wish it upon anybody, but for John Carroll to have to play without Luke Chone at this point in the year, I mean, that's valuable. I mean, there might come a time, big game in the NCAA tournament where he gets injured, he gets in foul trouble. So, good teams overcome those type of things.
3:36 to go here in the first half. If you just joined us, Johns Hopkins got out to a quick 13-2 start. Brian Johansson hit a couple threes. John Carroll had a lid on the basket for a while, and ever since, Carroll has really been digging out of a hole. The lead shrunk at one point down to 8, but now it's back up to 16.
I think is that Luke Frazier's first point there.
Luke Frazier, indeed, that is his first point. He comes into this game averaging 14 points per outing. 17 against SUNY Brockport a couple weeks ago. Down by 15 into the front court. And whistled for traveling is Charlie Jackson.
That's what John Carroll's trying to accomplish with that press. Either get you turned over or certainly get you sped up out of your game. Hopkins got to stick to the game plan, be solid in their half-court offense.
There's an illegal screen and blocking call on Jantek.
Tight call there. Well, here they go. It gives them a chance. Full court pressure again.
Brandon Rose, number 1, now in the game for Carroll. East Cleveland sophomore. Hopkins breaks the press. Winley will back it out. Looks for the Stevenson screen. Now swings it right side for an open three from Williams. Weak side rebound controlled by Sean Collins. Head to top end. Looks on Williams, now backs it out to Brandon Rose. John Carroll reset. Topside three off the front of the iron by Toppin. Controlled by Jeb Williams.
Oh, wow.
He'll go all the way to the rack.
Good drive.
On Jantek, too strong, but Thorburn was able to keep it alive and reset it for Hopkins. Right side now, Williams works the baseline, kicks it left corner to Windley. That three won't go, and another offensive rebound controlled by Thorburn.
3 or 4 chances at it there.
Williams couldn't convert. Carroll survives, and a quick shot. No, but Jantek has the rebound and powers it up back in.
A strong move there, up and through contact.
Gives Carroll a chance to set up the press now. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Windley all the way to the hole, grabbed by Rose. As he elevated, he'll go to the free throw line.
I still haven't seen Luke Chone come out of the locker room. I don't think I've seen him.
Looked like his left ankle. He was treating gingerly when he walked off. John Windley to the stripe. He has been extremely efficient from the line this year, 24 out of 27.
You see why he's such a heralded player. He can shoot the three. He's got a good body. He can take it to the basket. He can make his free throws. Pretty talented scorer.
Jantek checks back in for John Carroll, replacing Sean Collins. 14-point margin.
Free throw line violation. Coach Moran is thinking that both teams were violating there. Feel his pain.
Windley can't convert. Fails the cat. Back to work on offense comes John Carroll. Left baseline, Jantek crashing into Stevenson. And he'll draw the foul.
I think Hopkins was ready to double team him there, but he turned baseline. They couldn't get into the double team, and he just kind of overpowered his way to the bucket. That's been John Carroll's best offense in the half court, is just playing to the power game.
Eight of 12 from the line now for John Carroll as Jantek misses that free throw. Their shooting percentage has climbed a little bit, but still 24%. Yet only down by 14. You got to have the feeling, Rick, this one is far, far from over.
No question. Veteran championship teams don't go away. There's the press again.
Splits the pair. Rose reached in on Windley and
kind of had him in a good trap. Didn't need to do that.
They'll call it on Toppin. Double bonus coming for John Carroll.
These free throws are helping Hopkins now. They've struggled a little bit here in the half court, but getting bailed out by fouls.
7 of 9 from the free throw stripe thus far for the Blue Jays.
John Hopkins going a little bit smaller now. Again, and I think John Carroll's having success going inside, so we'll see how this plays out.
Windley got them both, 38-23, 15-point lead.
John Hopkins going to zone, that makes sense. He's a little smaller, been struggling with the low post defense.
Frazier, deep three from the left side. Weak side rebound controlled by Jackson. Leaves for Windley. He's hassled by Rose. The C's part all the way to the hole. Missed the bunny, but Luke Thorburn was right there for the tap in. 17-point lead, biggest margin of the game. Frazier gets to the paint, pulls up with the 8-footer, got it.
Nice shot, beautiful pull up.
He's got to get going in the absence of Chone.
No question, no question.
Jackson, space along the right baseline. Found an open Thorburn out of the left corner. He airmailed it. 17 seconds to go. Last shot time for John Carroll. Frazier tries to create space, can't do it. Thorburn stole it away as he dribbled down on the other end. Toppin picked his pocket, and that's the way the first half ends. 40-25. Johns Hopkins surprisingly over John Carroll here. First half stats, Johns Hopkins shooting 45%. John Carroll shooting 26%. 6 of 16 for Johns Hopkins from beyond the arc. Get this, Rick Wesley, just 11 attempts for Carroll, no three-pointers. They have not been able to connect on 1 3 at all. From the free throw line, 8 of 10 for Hopkins, 9 of 13 for John Carroll. Individually in the first half for Johns Hopkins, John Winley led the way with 12, 11 for Brian Johansson, 7 for Jeb Williams. 5 rebounds for Williams to lead the Blue Jays. For John Carroll, leading scorer is Henry Rayner with 6. 5 for Toppin. Your thoughts on the first half?
Well, really impressed with Johns Hopkins' half-court defense, particularly out on the perimeter. Their ball screen coverage to start the game was outstanding. It really frustrated the perimeter players for John Carroll, and they just, as you said, with the three-point shooting, just gave them nothing out there on the perimeter. As time went on, I felt like John Carroll made some adjustments and, like I say, started just going inside more, which might be something we'll see more in the second half. But I just really impressed with John Hopkins' half-court defense. And so by doing that and limiting what John Carroll can do in terms of scoring the ball, you keep John Carroll out of their full-court press, which is their bread and butter, and allows them to stir you up, get turnovers, get easy baskets. So I don't know that John Hopkins could have done anything much better. Now, if they can keep this up, it's going to be a great night for them. I think John Carroll can play better. I think they can play better. We'll see.
All right, 40-25. Johns Hopkins over John Carroll here at halftime. We'll step aside on the Calvin Sports Network for these messages. Back with you just moments before the second half starts. You are watching Great Lakes Invitational on the Calvin Sports Network.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University, go beyond.
Other financial institutions may do a couple things well, but in our experience over the past decade, Lake Michigan Credit Union has done all of the things well.
LMCU has been there for every stage of my life.
I don't think I'd be in the same position if it wasn't connected to LMCU.
I know where my money is. I know what I can spend. I know what I'm able to do.
And that's an amazing experience to have. In terms of customer service, LMCU is top-notch. You're not going to find a better place to bank.
Applied Innovation is excited to celebrate more than 35 years of helping our customers grow. Starting as a printer, copier, and fax dealer, Applied has evolved into a complete office technology provider to include managed IT services and workflow automation.
What sets Applied apart is really our why. That's at our core, a passion for service, for people, for business. If we're at service to one another, then we can take great care of the customer. Happy people take great care of customers, and we just happen to sell technology.
It started with one survivor, one person that I wanted to help. Her name is Delynn, but she had a debt issue that we had to resolve. And working with pro bono legal counsel, we were able to do that. I saw the difference that it made in her life. And I thought, if she has these kinds of legal needs, certainly other survivors do as well. My name is Nate Napper. I'm a 2008 graduate of Calvin University, and I'm currently a special agent with the FBI. I'm also an attorney, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Joseph Project. I'm of the opinion that there is no reason why every single human trafficking survivor in need of legal services shouldn't be given those services free of charge. And the idea was to connect them with pro bono legal help so that they could resolve that legal collateral damage and move forward into a brighter future. And I'm happy to say that we've connected with over 300 survivors of human trafficking. I'll always remember the moment that I learned that one of our survivors, Leslie, had been pardoned by Governor Gretchen Whitmer of all past crimes associated with her trafficking. Michigan's first ever survivor of trafficking to be pardoned by a sitting governor. Criminal charges cleared. Working as a collaborative team, every single charge was resolved. Those are the moments that stick with me. And usually, it's funny, it always has to do with others. It usually has nothing to do with me. And I think that's, another point where Jesus was right all along. That was a beautiful result. And it reminded me, that I've always resonated with the idea that we could be agents of renewal, right? That we could work and cooperate alongside the vision that God has for the world, so that we can usher in the kingdom of God in some ways right here, right now, with the people that we are immediately surrounded by if we're just willing to follow him in obedience. I love that notion. So it's nice, right, to be recognized. I appreciate it, certainly. I give the credit and I give the praise to God. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my parents and how I would say the deep level of sacrifice that they made. It's a lot. I just appreciate the fact that they lay some of their own dreams down to make sure that I can live mine. You're willing to submit to his path in obedience, dream the dreams that he would have you enact for the world. I think that you'll go places that you would never imagine going.
Today's broadcast is sponsored by Capital and Risk Management Services. Since 1987, Capital and Risk Management Services has supported Knight Nation's financial and risk management needs with strategic solutions for a secure tomorrow. Reach out to Russ Fausing today at 312-458-4523.
The best part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Carroll University.
Yay! Okay.
This year has definitely changed my world. I'm making an impact here. It feels good to know every day that I'm growing in my abilities that I love, which is film, and I'm also growing as a believer in faith.
I'm really thankful that I was able to do work in my field during school, at school, and that has given me the confidence to move forward with doing my own independent work and getting to put my foot in that door before I even graduate. I don't think I would have found elsewhere.
At Calvin, our faith in God and pursuit of excellence drives us. Our new soccer stadium reflects that commitment, offering a premier space for our student athletes to compete on and off the field. Whether you're an athlete, a summer camper, or a spectator, join our community of Knights at Calvin University.
Mosquitoes outnumber humans by like 1,000,000 to 1. So who are you giving your blood to? The humans or the mosquitoes? It's us versus them. And I think they're winning. So donate blood with Versity Blood Center of Michigan today.
Other financial institutions may do a couple things well, but in our experience over the past decade, Lake Michigan Credit Union has done all of the things well.
LMCU has been there for every stage of my life.
I don't think I'd be in the same position if it wasn't connected to LMCU.
I know where my money is. I know what I can spend. I know what I'm able to do.
And that's an amazing experience to have. In terms of customer service, LMCU is top-notch. You're not going to find a better place to bank.
Mosquitoes outnumber humans by like 1,000,000 to 1. So who are you giving your blood to? The humans or the mosquitoes? It's us versus them. And I think they're winning. So donate blood with Versity Blood Center of Michigan today.
Today's broadcast is sponsored by Capital and Risk Management Services. Since 1987, Capital and Risk Management Services has supported Knight Nation's financial and risk management needs with strategic solutions for a secure tomorrow. Reach out to Russ Fausing today at 312-458-4523.
My life hasn't been easy. I've survived many traumas, and I think my faith journey reflects that. At this point, I've come to believe that to know Christ is to know suffering. It was in my deepest, darkest moments of my life that I think I was able to glimpse a little bit of God. What drives my passion and commitment to making music as accessible to as many people as possible in Indonesia is a very personal experience which unfolded throughout the time that I was at Calvin. During the 4 years that I was there, I was struggling with an eating disorder. I was stuck in the cycle that I couldn't get out of, and I hated how I looked. I hated my body. Now, in my junior and senior year, I started to become more focused in my piano studies, thanks to the urgings of my piano professor at that time, Professor Haisuk Kim. I was practicing maybe 4 to 6 hours a day. It was very intense. I realized that being in such an intensive, immersive musical experience made me happy, and it gave me more confidence in myself and in my voice. I felt that my mental health and well-being was healing, and it was daily getting stronger. Because of that very personal experience, I know that music can change lives. The most personally rewarding venture for me is starting the first professional symphony orchestra in the city of Bandung. The first person I contacted was Robert Nordling, who was my conducting professor at Calvin College, and I wanted to see if he was willing to be involved in this crazy initiative. He responded with capital letters, yes, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And since then, he's been an amazingly solid partner. In many ways, the Bandung Philharmonic was a unique contribution to musical opportunities in Indonesia, because from day one, it was conceived with an international standard musical and artistic experience in mind. I'm currently a community manager at House of Piano Jakarta, which is the exclusive dealer of Steinway & Sons in Indonesia. So this strategic position widens my circle of impact, and I am now creating programs that affect so many young pianists all throughout the country. Redeeming every square inch for me now means creating great music programs on a strategic level that impacts many people, whether they are young musicians, young pianists, adult musicians, teachers, or even people in the audience. As we know, this happens one person, one heart, and one precious moment at a time.
Applied Innovation is excited to celebrate more than 35 years of helping our customers grow. Starting as a printer, copier, and fax dealer, Applied has evolved into a complete office technology provider to include managed IT services and workflow automation.
We create an environment here at Applied that is such a wonderful one that when one of our employees gets in front of you, it just permeates from them how much they enjoy their work. And when somebody really enjoys their work, the service delivery that you get is going to be an amazing experience.
This is the Gainey Track and Field Complex. There are innovative features that set Calvin's facilities apart from other universities. First, the space joins a small number of dedicated track and field facilities in NCAA Division III. This means that we don't share with football, lacrosse, soccer, any other team. Our throwing facility is adjacent to the main track. Everything is right here in one location. It's all about track and field all the time.
I love the NABE Scholarship Program because I just love how personal these scholarships are for the alumni and for the students. Being a student who grew up in foster care and then getting a scholarship for students who were in foster care and being able to connect with that donor and see the love and the passion that they have for me and being able to resonate with me and what I've gone through. God opened doors that I didn't even know were there. I'm at Calvin and my legacy is starting here.
Welcome back to Calvin University, halftime here of the Third game of the day, the Great Lakes Invitational. Johns Hopkins leading John Carroll 40-25. Time to tell you that deck the halls with trays of chicken. Chick-fil-A catering trays spread the merry for any family gathering, office party, or special event. From signature Chick-fil-A nugget trays, boxed original chicken sandwich meals, or trays of special blend mac and cheese, Chick-fil-A is the perfect way to bring people together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and receive rewards for any catering order. And if you're in Grand Rapids, here at Calvin, be sure to stop by the Chick-fil-A store just a mile south of campus. Bob Sack alongside Rick Wesley getting set for the second half. Rick, how does John Carroll get back in this game?
Well, it starts with their defense. You know, just get some stops here, get some open floor opportunities, try to get some easy buckets. They only had 3 assists in the first half, which tells you, you know, they're not getting easy opportunities.
You spoke with the John.
Good start right there. You know, they picked up the pressure and got Hopkins to turn it over.
At halftime, you spoke with the John Carroll staff on Luke Chone.
Sounds like he's got some sort of foot ankle injury, and it doesn't seem like he'll be back this second half, which is really a tough break.
Streaks go to work with Henry Rayner. Drive to the right side of the lane that results in a rejection.
Johansson started the game so well. See if he can get it going again to start the second half.
He drives on Toppin, runs into traffic and resets to Jackson, who draws contact as he knifes down the lane. Blocking foul, send it out of bounds.
Really like Jeb Williams. Good player, good athlete, can handle the ball, can do a lot of things. Still pretty young, just a sophomore.
Dante Felly is 22, the big center. Williams, as Rick mentioned, 13. Here's Johansson, gets a step on Rayner all the way to the hole. And good drive, and really what sets that up, right, is the 3 3-pointers in the first half. Rayner's got to respect that against the 6'6" Johansson.
Nice pass.
Good dish from Toppin to a cutting Henry Rayner.
I think Toppins takes on a completely different role now with Chone out. Definitely more of a primary ball handler, playmaker.
Little 2-3 full court press. Pressure by John Carroll doesn't matter though, as Hopkins breaks it beautifully and finds Windley open for the right wing triple. Back the other way, Jantek in traffic underneath between Felly and Johansson, but he was able to split the defenders and lay it in. Here comes that press again. Windley navigates it well. Jackson now has it. Low blocks. Back to Johansson. He'll fire from 3. Wide right. Chased down by Toppin. In transition, Toppin. A blocking foul on the screen by Jantek. You like that call?
I didn't have a great angle on it.
Oh, you're copping out on me, man.
Didn't have a great look at it. But, you know, somehow how guys react to the contact can really influence an official. Give another chance for Carroll. Broke the press.
Charlie Jackson into the front court to Johansson on the left wing. Long rebound to Toppin. Play ahead to Frazier. Guns it left wing to Toppin. And off the flange. Johansson out muscles Rayner for the rebound. And that missed shot again prevents Carroll from really setting up any pressure at all.
John Hopkins has broken the press twice and taken quick shots and missed them. That's a tough decision. Again, right. Even then, that's a kind of a quick shot. You've got to be careful. You don't want to pass up good opportunities, but you don't want to be in a hurry.
Jackson short on that last right wing 3. That sets up the Blue Streaks underneath Henry Rayner. Good positioning and good footwork. Results in a jump hook for 2.
Feels like Yannick and Rayner definitely have some advantage inside when they get it in there. A little bit bigger, a little bit stronger.
14-point margin for Johns Hopkins. Windley from the right side creates his own shot.
Another quick shot, though. I don't know if that's...
Luke Frazier got a step down the left side of the lane.
No call there.
Like he got hammered, no call.
Coach Moran not real happy about that one.
Jackson thought about the 3. Now he'll reset top side. It's a nice screen from Felly, and as he slices down the lane, draws contact, he'll shoot 2.
Really a tough decision when you get in the front court against John Carroll. If you've broken their press, do you take that first open 3? Do you work the ball a little bit? And Hopkins had about 3 straight possessions where they shot a little quick, it felt like.
Ryan Kane in his 2nd season at the helm of Hopkins. Previously 8 years at Keene State.
Up in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Was an outstanding player there. I think was a All-American himself. I know he was the D3 Student Athlete of the Year his senior year. So, got to be a smart coach to coach a John
Well,
Hopkins.
all right, how about this for you? Ryan Kane's degree comes from Worcester Polytech, where he majored in engineering. So you got to have some academic pedigree to coach at Johns Hopkins.
No question.
You made the comment, though, some quick shots here and there. Coming into this game, Rick, you tell me if this ratio is troublesome or it's not that big of a deal. 66 made field goals for Johns Hopkins this year, 27 assists. Is that a little lower than you would like? 27 out of 66?
You know, they haven't played enough games to really know. Usually you get a lot of assists when you're a fast-breaking team because you get a lot of 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. And they're more of a half-court, work-the-ball type of team.
Good work by Frazier to find Casey Hunt underneath. His first appearance for Casey Hunt, the 6'4" junior out of Sylvania.
And every possession now for John Carroll feels like it's finishing close to the basket, which I think is probably a good idea for them. They've not been making threes, so don't worry about it. Just try to get it in the paint, see if good things will happen.
Another D2 transfer from Tiffin is Casey Hunt. Carom by Johansson on that missed free throw.
Oh, nice. John Whitley, really good drive, really strong drive.
Lead back to 6. Frazier to the free throw line. Bounces to an open Casey Hunt. Check that, Sean Collins also into the game. His triple is short. Brandon Rose checks in. We'll take a media timeout. Ryan Whitnable is the Great Lakes Invitational creator. Feels like this 7th Great Lakes Invitational continues the tradition of bringing together D3's best programs to arguably the level's best venue. Hosting this event at the home of one of D3's most successful programs, Calvin University, is perfectly fitting of this crown jewel event of the Division III basketball calendar. Words from Ryan Whitnable, the creator of the Great Lakes Invitational. Also check out for D3 coverage, the QCast, Bob Quillen. Gotta love these guys at small college basketball, small college football that just sort of find their niche in today's media. I mean, you know, 30, 40 years ago, that really wasn't possible. But the internet makes it so much fun to follow colleges that don't necessarily get all of the hype of the big guys at D1 level.
Everybody's their own media nowadays.
That sounds like a guy who wishes he would have had an agent back in his coaching day.
No. The players are their own media with social media now.
Glad to have you with us on this Friday night. Bob Sack alongside Rick Wesley, former head coach at Grand Valley State University nearby Allendale. About 40 minutes here from Calvin University.
Okay.
Played Calvin a few times in non-conference days.
Oh, yeah. John Carroll going to a little bit of a zone now, a little different look.
Yeah, they leave Windley open in the corner.
It was effective.
Couldn't connect on the triple try.
Different players in there now, too. Jackson Polnick in there for John Carroll.
Number 0.
Freshman.
Pat Moran going to his bench. Sean Collins open for a left elbow jumper.
Nice pull.
Too strong. Got a good shot out of that look.
Yeah, it was a good pull up. A lot of fresh bodies in there.
Windley
Well, Whitley's
step on Zapolnik.
Whitley's just got such a strong base, great strong body, great legs. Looks like he'd make a linebacker.
He does, yeah. Well, 195, that might be a little light for a linebacker, but how about a strong safety?
Yeah. He looks like the kind of kid who could play about any sport and be pretty good. Oh. John Carroll is not going to go away. They're just going to get more and more aggressive here.
You just joined us. John Carroll scored the game's first basket. Hopkins had the next 13 points and has never trailed since. Johansson called for traveling as he sliced his way to the paint. Back to work, Toppin with Brandon Rose, #1 in the game.
Trying to go inside here to Yannick.
Jantek pushed off on Johansson. Good call, pretty easy call there by the official.
There's so much contact before he got it, and then his response to that contact was probably a little over the top.
You respond to that call as though back in your coaching day you would have had a very cordial, quiet, analytical discussion with the official. Something tells me that's not quite the way it worked when you were on the sidelines.
Yeah, no question. I would not have, I think it was probably the right call, but I know I would not have been happy about that call.
Windley trying to find Williams inside, picked off by Toppin. Race horses down the other way. Gets a nice screen from Gentry, goes slip off that screen. David Gentry lays it in.
Toppin is a good playmaker. He handles that ball, good pick and roll. And that started with that turnover. Hopkins cannot turn that ball over. He traveled again, missed one there.
Back to that 2-3 zone now for John Carroll. There's Jackson again. Boy, Jeb Williams, rather. You like Jeb Williams.
Yeah, I do. Good athlete, long, lanky, good stroke, good handle.
7 for Williams.
Another ball screen with a lift man behind.
Frazier tied up as he drives to the lane. And I thought that was a pretty clean.
What's the call here?
They're going to call a foul on Thorburn.
In 2 shots, I was going to say, you got to call that. If you're going to call it, it's got to be a shooting foul. Did have a little bit of a continuation feel to it, didn't it?
It's the first. Jantek, 6'7" senior from Independence, Ohio.
Coach Kane pleading his case. I can tell from experience it's not going to help.
Yeah, but you got to throw a little deposit in the bank for later on,
maybe
right?
Get the next one.
That's right. Will Jantek cans both of those and lead trimmed to 15 again.
Here's the press.
Well, give Hopkins credit, though. They just will not let Carroll get it into single digits. Another drive by Williams. He's hacked on the way up by Gentry. 6th team foul on John Carroll.
It just seems like this game is just staying right where it's at. Neither team can really extend the lead or cut in the lead. It's just...
Whitley triggers the inbound to Williams. Hesitates on Toppin. Now gets a nice pick from Stevenson, and Pat Moran was screaming for a moving screen. He may have had a point there. Frazier back the other way. Good hand switch at the bucket. Couldn't get it to go, and rebound will stay with John Carroll.
Luke Frazier's had a tough go of it. You know, good idea, good start to the bucket. Just, again, I know he's been battling some illness. It doesn't look quite as strong as...
1 for 8 from the field today. 1 for 9 from Luke Frazier.
A little baseline out of bounds play. Kind of the special team aspect of the basketball.
Always seemingly a measuring stick for coaches, isn't it?
I love baseline out of bounds. See if they get a little cross screen here and try to get 33 sealed or 3 sealed right at the rim. broke him up. Okay, a little flex action.
Outside.
Flare. That's tough. Flared the big guy.
Gentry found Frazier, or rather Jantek, with a good look on the left wing. Misfired. And Frazier trying to defend Williams. How about that? It won't count, but Jeb Williams, 6'6".
Yeah, Jeb Williams sending a little message
pretty good,
there.
didn't
he took on the good player, took on Luke Frazier here and kind of got by him here on the wing and went in and just kind of flushed it in there, just sent a little message.
Rick Hopkins is in the bonus already. 13 minutes to go in this basketball game.
Another reason to, when you get into the half court, don't be overly buggy to shoot it right away. Work the ball. From a strategy style standpoint, it probably is to your favor, and certainly from a foul standpoint, it's to your favor.
Jeb Williams buries both free throws. He now has 13 points.
Stagger screen, post ISO.
Gentry going to work at the low post, finds a cutting Jantek, and good reverse layup. Good action there.
Yeah, big guys are tough for Carroll. They just have not found a perimeter guy that can get going here.
2-2-1 pressure, full court from the Blue Streaks. Johansson and Logan Feller navigate that pressure. Stevenson between the rings. Leaves for Charlie Jackson. Now there's some deliberation in that offense.
Yeah, this is a good possession, I think.
Johansson to the lane. Kick out left side, no. Rebound, tapped to the hands of Jantek. And they nicely find Gentry underneath on a good pass from Aiden Fitzgerald. Lead is 15, but again, that's been the ceiling. They just can't get past that 13, 14, 15-point gap. Jackson going to work down low. They'll call the charge on Charlie Jackson.
Good job by Luke Frazier. Really moved his feet, anticipated, cut him off, took the charge.
Media timeout. Coming to Grand Rapids for a Calvin event or any other reason in Grand Rapids, your home for accommodation is the Hilton Garden Inn. Less than 1 mile south of Calvin's campus. While you're there, catch all the games on the big screens at Big E Sports Grill. Great spot to stay while in West Michigan, the Hilton Garden Inn. Today's second half is brought to you by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing personal financial strategies tailored to your goals and lifestyles. This tournament, by the way, features 4 preseason D3Hoop.com All-Americans. Luke Frazier and Luke Chacon from this John Carroll team. And later tonight, we'll see Chone Agakeze from Calvin as they meet Emory. Get a chance to talk to your old buddy Bill Saul at all?
I have not seen him. I looked for him earlier, and I've not seen him. You know, Calvin's off to a tough start. Had such a great year last year. I'm sure they'll get it going here, though.
Yeah, first 0-4 start since 1929. It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
That's
a lot of years of great teams.
That's a lot of years of great. That's right. Absolutely.
Coach Dahlman, Coach Vanderstreek, and now Bill. Calvin's got a great history. They'll get the ship righted.
Trying to adjust to. We talk about teams adjusting to what their new talent is without Jalen Overway, the big 6'9" center, who we will not see tonight due to that late season knee injury last year.
It's a big
Bill
loss.
Saul's got to figure out how to formulate this team. Turnover by John Carroll. Tonti Felly back in the lineup.
Okay, still 15 at 11:26 to go. So we're getting to the halfway point and they've not really been able to cut into it. I can see Johns Hopkins going to a little zone here.
Good pressure, but Blue Jays beat the clock. Felly working on Rayner underneath, and
probably a good call. Could have called it earlier. There's a lot of bumping there.
That'll send Tanti-Felli to the line.
Johns Hopkins really has done a nice job. Again, they don't really have a true point guard. And with Johansson and Whitley and Jeb Williams, all three are very capable ball handlers. They kind of spread it around, hit you from a lot of different places and angles.
Felli at the line for the second of two. Got that one to drop. 16-point lead. So, Rick Wesley, if you're Pete Moran, head coach at John Carroll, what's the schematic pathway back to getting into this game?
I think first you got to score in the half court, and then you can get your press going.
Turnaround jumper by Toppin won't go.
They have not gotten a perimeter guy on track here. They've not made shots. They've scored it inside.
Lob pass underneath to Felli, and drew the contact again.
Man, 9-3 fouls. John Carroll's got 9 fouls now. They're going to be in the double bonus with 10 minutes to go. That makes it even more difficult to be aggressive defensively. So Johns Hopkins' ability just to handle the ball cleanly is going to be huge down the stretch here.
And again, in a day and age where you always hear the term positionless basketball, that lack of a point guard probably doesn't seem as vital as it was 20 years ago. Fair statement, or is that?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Disagree?
But I don't say they don't have a true point guard, but the guys are all pretty good handlers, and all three of them can shoot threes, which makes a big difference too. And John Carroll just they haven't made a three, I don't think.
You are correct. 0 of 14.
That's tough to win a game against a good team.
Hopkins 8 of 24 from downtown.
Frazier got a couple more free throws. Again, somebody's got to get it going. Now here's a chance to set this press up. They need to get something off this press, and there it is.
1-2-2. Battle for the loose ball.
Okay, there's one. They got one.
And they'll get Johansson for the foul.
So it all works together. You got to score in the half court by buckets or free throws so you can get the full court press. So Hopkins is going to really be solid handling that ball. Oh, push off there. That's a push off. Coach Kane. Here's Frazier. Boy, Frazier just has struggled.
Lost the handle as he drove to the basket. Felli runs the court well, rim to rim for a big man, and on the way up, he'll go to the line again after that contact.
Luke Frazier tried to be aggressive, turn the corner there, and really just kind of slipped.
Foul trouble seemingly could be a problem for John Carroll, but really Henry Rayner the only one with 4 right now. Jantek and Frazier each with 3.
The big guy here, Tanti-Felli's a little bit of an unsung hero, I'd say. He's played very solid. He handles the ball for him a lot. Hasn't turned it over, has made his free throws.
16-point lead again. Gentry backs in on Felli. Underhands across court.
No,
tough shot there by
25.
End of the game for the second half here. Let's get that number.
Omar.
Brought in Omar Abu Hamde. Nick Klaber drives the lane. He draws contact. I thought Klaber played really well in the first half defensively on Chone.
Game of Solomon still 14 with 9:19 to go.
Timeout on the floor. I'm not sure who called it. Yeah, there was no timeout. Omar Abu Hamde, point guard from North Royalton, Ohio.
It's a tough one there. He made a bucket. Maybe he can get him going. You know, somebody's got to make some shots. This might very well be a free throw contest for Hopkins down the stretch. They're in the double bonus. You know, John Carroll's going to be more aggressive.
Both teams have shot 19 free throws, now 21 actually for Hopkins. Both teams shooting 73% from the line. Down low, Jantek muscles up. Good post move for two, and it's a 14-point game again.
Here's the press again. Okay, good job.
Glaber beats it. Charlie Jackson on the left wing. Glaber works on Abu Hamde.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Felly kind of dropped his shoulder there. First time he's really gotten it close to the basket.
The wave off the bucket.
Take a little break. He's done a nice job, though.
He and Will Stevenson have shared that pivot role. It's a fourth foul on Felly. Brandon Rose with a three-pointer, splashes it down from the right point, and that's as close as John Carroll has been, Rick. 60-49, the count right now. It's been a long time since they've trimmed that lead to near single digits. Winley left open, though. You can't do that if you're John Carroll. He makes them pay.
Conference player stepped up, big shot.
20 points now for John Winley, near his 22-point average. Rose drives, kicks out to Jantek. Three ball too strong. Stevenson rips it down. Head to Glaber. And he'll back it out and eat some clock here. Johansson eyes the three. Collins watches him. Look for Stevenson underneath, jockeying with Collins. Good take by Charlie Jackson, though. Used right around Abu Hamde. And all of a sudden, we're back to a 16-point lead. Sean Collins gets daylight down the lane. Misfires on the floater. 7:10 to play, or 7:20 to play here in the second half.
Take your time, Hopkins here.
Right side, Johansson. Glaber drive, step back from 12 at the right elbow. Off the back of the iron. Rose races into the front court. He'll let fly from the left wing.
Rose
knocks it down. It's a 13-point game.
Giving him some much-needed shooting off the bench.
Hopkins looking to chew some clock. Collins tries to hedge that screen. Winley reads it well. Probes into the lane. Can't drop the turnaround jumper from 12. They can cut the lead down to 11 or 10 again with 6:30 to go. Top end leaves for Collins. Still can't buy a bucket.
Hopkins needs to be patient. You know, they don't put it in a deep freeze, but they want to work the ball here. They're in the double bonus.
Glaber between the rings, watched by Rose. Can't get a step now, does, and finds Johansson on the left baseline. Teardrop, left it short.
Not a great possession, a lot of dribbling.
Toppin on a catch and shoot from the right wing. Too strong, but Collins has the rebound to Amadabe. That shot is off the mark. And a whistle and a foul on Johansson. Check that, Will Toppin. That takes us to the under 8 timeout, 65-52 with 5:46 to play. More about today's tournament host Calvin University. You want to check out the stunning new facilities dotting the Calvin campus. The new soccer stadium, track and field complex, and state-of-the-art football building highlight the outdoor athletics improvements. Beautiful Commons Union provides incredible gathering spaces for students, and new media production spaces and a cadaver lab and virtual nursing simulation lab are among the classroom upgrades to highlight. Check out all the ways Calvin's building up the student experience at calvin.edu. Today's second half is brought to you by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing personal financial strategies tailored to your goals and lifestyles. Well, it has been a basketball game where Hopkins got the lead in the first half, and they have just kept John Carroll at bay. Part of the story of the game, if you just joined us and you're wondering where is Luke Chone, the All-American guard from John Carroll, left the game midway through the first half with an apparent ankle injury, and he has not returned. So we have not seen this John Carroll team coming in 3-0 and ranked number 3 in the country. Really haven't seen them at full strength tonight.
No,
but that said, give credit to Johns Hopkins because they have played really well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say too. John Carroll has enough other good players too that they could be a good team without Luke. So John Hopkins has really played well from start to up until this point.
A rare free throw miss for John Windley. Second one on its way, drops through.
21 points for Windley now. Really a solid, good-looking player. There you go.
Drive by Zapolnik. Jack Zapolnik
kind of
into the game.
Lanky freshman, and there's the press. Again, Hopkins has just got to be solid with the ball. Winning time now. You can't get loose with that ball.
Foul's on Windley. That is his third. Windley's had to work for his shots, though, Rick. He's 5 of 14 from the field. Under his 41% clip that he shoots it at coming into this game.
He's strong enough, though. He's drawn some fouls. He's gotten to the line. Just getting shots in this game is difficult.
7 of 10 from the line. Right on his average of about 8 free throws per game.
Okay, you could cut it to 10 right here. Make it interesting. And put the press on again.
Chase Toppin buries the second free throw. We have a 10-point game with 5.5 to play.
Oh.
They turn it over underneath for the reverse layup and a nice dish and feed. All of a sudden, it is an 8-point game with 5:15 to go.
Good timeout by Coach Kane there. Couple bad possessions in a row. Turned it over against the press. Again, coming down the stretch, good teams, the more they're behind, the more aggressive they're going to get. The more solid you've got to be with that ball.
30-second timeout called by Johns Hopkins. More about Calvin University as you get to know today's Great Lakes Invitational host. Calvin's graduate program is expanding this fall with the addition of a Master of Science in Nursing. Calvin now offers 12 master's degrees and 10 certificate options for adult learners. So whether you are looking to go part-time or full-time, online or in person, Calvin's got you covered. Discover more at calvin.u.
Good job by the officials tonight. Jimmy Jarrett, Aaron Weber, and Lewis Brown. They really have done a good job. This has been a physical, tough game. And,
first game today was won by Wisconsin lacrosse, a 99-75 win over Marietta, led by as many as 31 at times, as did lacrosse. Shot lights out, 56%, 50% from 3. Very fluid, flowing offensive game. The second game was much different. Kind of a slugfest between Hope and St. John's. Johnny's won at 64-48.
A little bit different kind of press here. Looks like a little bit more of a trapping press, maybe not. Okay.
Windley and Johansson working the backcourt. Brandon Rose almost had the turnover. Still on the floor.
10 seconds.
And the 10-second call.
Yeah.
It has not produced too many turnovers, but it seems like here in the second half it's starting to happen a little bit more, that being the press.
3 straight possessions. Hopkins hasn't gotten to the half court.
And all of a sudden, the blue streaks from John Carroll have a chance to trim this gap to 6 points.
Teams that are behind get more aggressive. Teams that are ahead tend to get a little more cautious. It's a bad combination. It's where teams make runs.
Chase Toppin with a scoop shot. Oh, just couldn't get it to drop, but right there for the rebound is Henry Rayner.
Wow.
And it's a 6-point game.
And they're pressing again.
Williams this time will beat it with the dribble. Head to Windley. He's going to take it all the way to the hole. Got bumped, but no call. Couldn't convert.
Good defense by Rayners. What was the whistle there?
Whistle, and I'm not sure. What are they? Frazier was on the run out, Rick, and I think they're trying to reset the shot clock because there's no way 11 seconds would have.
That was an awkward time to blow the whistle, though.
Reset it. 27. Toppin probes the left side, kicks it back out to Rose. He'll launch a deep 3, wide right.
Bad
by Felly.
Not a good possession there by John Carroll. Rose has hit a couple threes, but it wasn't in rhythm very well.
4:20 to go. Johansson between the circles, uses the Felly screen all the way to the hole, has it knocked away. And it looked like it went off his leg, but instead they'll call it off Henry Rayner. Stays with Johns Hopkins. Aiden Fitzgerald replaces Brandon Rose, who came in and offered a couple of 3 balls that got John Carroll back into this. Windley inbounds to Felly for Johns Hopkins. Works the lane on Jantek, backs in, little left-handed scoop, got it to go. Really nice, pretty move by.
He's made a couple really tough shots in there. He's got great composure for a big guy.
Inside of 4 minutes. Toppin, a runner from the right side. No, Felly on the run out. Ahead to Jackson, and Charlie Jackson with the left-handed jam with 3:44 to go. All of a sudden that lead is back up to 10.
Wow. Great bucket by Felly on one end. Solid rebound. He brought it out on the break. First time tonight. Hit Charlie Jackson in stride. Dunk. Boy, a lot of guys have contributed for Johns Hopkins tonight at key times.
Fans this holiday season deck the halls with trays of chicken. Chick-fil-A catering trays. Spread the merry for any family gathering, office party, or special event. From signature Chick-fil-A nugget trays, boxed original chicken sandwich meals, or trays of special blend mac and cheese, Chick-fil-A is the perfect way to bring people together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and receive rewards for any catering order. Here in Grand Rapids, when you're visiting Calvin University, be sure to stop at the Chick-fil-A just a mile south of campus. Well, Rick, the Blue Streaks got it down to 6, but Hopkins has answered.
Yeah, a couple not great possessions. They forced that 3 up and then missed a inside one there. We'll see, though. A lot of time, 3:44, down 10. We'll see what happens here. Still quite a bit of time left. This is a big possession here. You feel like at this point, John Carroll can't have a wasted trip down. You just don't know who's going to make a 3, so it's probably going to go inside. Maybe get a old-fashioned 3-point play.
Toppin spins in the lane, drew contact on the way up, then he'll shoot a pair.
I had a feeling it was going to get in there one way or another.
Toppin, joined by Fitzgerald, Jantek, Frazier, and Rayner. For Johns Hopkins, Jackson, Williams, Windley, Johansson, and Felly. Toppin now 4 for 5 from the line. Hasn't been able to connect from downtown, but
he's made his free throws, but he don't love the look of that stroke. Keeps looking like he could miss one. Yeah.
Well called.
Yeah.
Short on that one.
That's a carry there.
3:30 to go, up by 9. Let's see if Johns Hopkins will eat some clock.
Oh,
Windley pushed by Frazier.
Oh, that was a silly foul.
35 feet from the basket.
That almost
Pete Moran not liking the call.
That almost felt like it was an intentional foul.
It did.
It was awkward.
Windley's been good at the line today, 8 of 11.
Boy, that was not a good foul. And the best player on the other team way out at half court.
At the beginning of the shot clock.
Yeah, that was a strange play.
3:23 to play. John Carroll got it down to 6 here in the second half, but Hopkins has ballooned the lead back up to 12. Chase Toppin working against Williams. Leaves for Fitzgerald, who will gun the 3 from the right side. It's airballed. Stays with John Carroll.
Boy, John Carroll's been a little bit exposed in their lack of three-point shooting tonight.
Yeah, that's just a remarkable stat. 2 of 21. Luke Frazier gets that 2-pointer to go. Cuts it to 9. Windley in the front court. Of course, these two teams will play again tomorrow. If you're in the West Michigan area, come out and see John Carroll versus Emory at 5:30. There's a beautiful feed to Felly. Nice pass by Windley.
Play a little ball screen, back screen action. Got the screener into the low post wide open.
Johns Hopkins meets La Crosse at 3 o'clock. Toppin pull up from 17 feet just beyond the free throw line. Bangs it home. 2:26 to go. 9-point lead. So again, Rick, big story in this one has been the absence of Luke Chone. Departed the game early in the first half, about midway through the first half. If you're Pete Moran, how have you adjusted to that? Again, for those that just joined us, this has been the task for John Carroll today.
Well, I think they've tried to turn their team into a little bit more of a power post-up team without their dynamic ball handler. And they've had some success with that, but at the same time, you just haven't been able to create enough offense from their defense. You know, when they're at their best is when they're in that press and they're getting turnovers. But it goes hand in hand. When you're not scoring or drawing fouls, you can't get your press set up. So they just, I don't think on the perimeter, they just have not had anybody really step up and have a good game. I feel like Chase Toppin is a player who's capable of that and has done that in the past. So if Luke Chone is out for any extended period of time, I think clearly he's going to have to take on a more of a scoring playmaker role.
2:26 to go. Johns Hopkins in the double bonus. It's the bonus for John Carroll. Quick foul. John Carroll with 1 timeout left. Johns Hopkins with 2 as we reset your scoreboard.
Good press offense by John Hopkins coming out of that turnover. Jumped a man out of bounds, made the out of bounds pass. Got it in pretty easy.
First free throw by Charlie Jackson is good.
Charlie Jackson's been very solid. Kind of a quiet player. Hasn't done a lot of things, but the things he's done have all been positive.
8 rebounds for Jackson.
He's kind of, you feel like there's more in there with him too. He's just a junior. Pretty skilled guy, got a good looking shot. Jumped up there and dunked the ball on the 1 breakaway. He's kind of strong in his role.
8 points for Jackson.
Oh, wow. Good pick and roll. Nice drop-off pass by Chase Toppin. Dante Felly got up there and blocked that. Looked pretty clean.
That is the 5th foul on Dante Felly. So he'll be disqualified with 9 points.
Coach Kane trying to get his team over
3
here
rebounds.
on the 5th foul.
Felly from Arizona, typically an East Coast roster, looks like, for Johns Hopkins, but a couple guys from outside of the area. Rochester, Minnesota.
But really, he's done a nice job. Dante Felly handles the ball quite a bit for him on the perimeter. Little dribble handoffs, good defender, good rebounder, shot blocker. And the times he's gotten the ball in the low post is a left-handed scorer, right-handed scorer, good player.
Will Stevenson checks back in. He's played 16 minutes today and contributed 4 points, or rather 4 rebounds and 2 points. Done a good job. Those two guys together have been an effective post presence for Ryan Kane. Jantek hits them both, 76-67.
Got to create some turnovers here.
2-2-1 press. Johansson gets it across to Jackson. Rick, what makes them go, what makes more effective press? That 2-2-1 or the 1-2-2? What are they trying to do with each of those?
You know, I think it kind of morphs. It's all one press. I think it just morphs how they match up initially, and they're just looking to try to get traps. Hopkins a couple times in that time there end up throwing up over the press. You know, you get a little cautious and you don't want to make that long pass, but sometimes as they keep coming up tighter and tighter, you got to go over the top to break it.
1 timeout left for each team. 1:51 to play. Don't forget, after this one more to go tonight. It is Calvin, the host school, meeting Emory. And our nightcap. Crowd starting to file in here for the home team.
Under 2 minutes, down 9. You just look out there, John Carroll. You feel like you got to make a couple threes here to get a chance to win this game, and I just don't know where that's going to come from.
Just 2 for 22 from three-point land for John Carroll. Inbounds to Windley. We'll try not to foul him as he's their best free throw shooter. Johansson, step back as the clock winds down. It might be the dagger.
Oh, man.
The game started, ironically, with Brian Johansson drilling some threes that really propelled Hopkins to the early lead, and kind of fitting that it ends this way.
Not sure if that's how they drew it up, but good
fast break to
nice.
Jeb Williams. 14-point lead now with 80 seconds to go, and Johns Hopkins can smell this one. Chase Toppin with that runner on the right side. One go. Battle for the loose ball. Good hustle on both ends. And
what was the call there?
I think it was tipped out by Jantek. With 69 seconds to go. Or is there a foul?
Jeb Williams going to the floor, trying to get a piece of it. Great hustle. Oh, they called a foul there? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was on Jantek.
What a great, it's going to be a great win here by John Hopkins. Boy, this is something they can hang their hat on all year, because John Carroll's going to have an outstanding team.
Yeah, the Blue Jays were impressive tonight. Really good.
When it comes to the postseason, you know, the rankings and the strength of schedule and stuff, this is a win that just keeps getting better and better as the season goes on. Tough one for John Carroll, but after the year they had last year, might be a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a show of where they can get better.
Good work by Williams again as he stole the inbounds pass and then drew the foul on David Gentry. That'll foul out Gentry.
John Hopkins has a really tough non-conference schedule, so they're going to have a lot of these kinds of games. I think they play 7 teams went to the NCAA tournament last year. So this is a big step for them to get ready for that grueling schedule, and should give them a lot of confidence moving forward.
They'll get another crack tomorrow at a formidable foe. That's UW lacrosse. Shot lights out this afternoon against Marietta in a 24-point blowout win. 56-33 at the half. In favor of lacrosse. At one point was shooting 60% from three-point land in the first half. That should be a fun one tomorrow.
Luke Frazier getting taken out. Like, I don't think we've seen him at his best. I've got a feeling that he's a little under the weather.
Offensive rebound controlled by Johns Hopkins. Williams to the rack, couldn't finish. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay down here with Johns Hopkins. Camden Parada checking in. Logan Feller as Ryan Kane starts to get some other guys into the action here with a minute to go and up by 17.
Oh.
All right, Rick Wesley, you gotta. We're not passing on any hardware, gift certificates, or cash today, as Isaiah Hansen can't drop the layup. But who's your player of the game today for each team?
Ooh, boy, that's a tough one. Man, Johns Hopkins has had a lot of guys play well. Johansson started well, finished well. Whitley's been solid the whole game. Jeb Williams, I thought, had some real great moments. Felly was tough. I don't know. I think I'll go with Johansson because I just think the way he came out in that first 5 or 6 minutes, that was the
tone setter.
Yeah, and that really was the difference in the score most of the game, that the 10, 12 points. And John Carroll, I just don't think they played their best. I thought Jantek probably was their most solid player start to finish. You know, he was a monster in around the bucket. He probably played his game closer to what is the norm, I would think. So I'd go with Jantek for John Carroll and Johansson for Johns Hopkins. But you could give, you're saying not Lions game, but you could give game balls to everybody like the Lions did the other day.
Tell you what, he probably doesn't post the numbers that weren't much of a player of the game, but Nick Flavor, I thought, did a great job defensively in the first half on Chacon. Talk about setting the tone. One of the players that helped do that. And Isaiah Hansen will run out the clock with the dribble, and that's the way this one's going to end. 84-69. Johns Hopkins defeats John Carroll. Impressive fashion. Some of the final stats, shooting percentage, 46% for Hopkins, 35% for John Carroll. Three-pointer, the big difference in the game, really. 38%, 10 of 26 for Johns Hopkins, 2 of 23 for John Carroll. 2 of 23, that's a key stat, no doubt. Both teams fairly effective at the free throw line, rebounding 45-35. Johns Hopkins wins that battle. Individual scoring today. John Windley for Johns Hopkins leads the way with 23, 19 for Jeb Williams, 16 for Brian Johansson, 9 apiece for Dante Felly and Charlie Jackson. For John Carroll, balance scoring, 14 from Jantek, 12 from Henry Rayner, 10 each from Toppin and Frazier, 6 from Brandon Rose. So that is the final scoring. And Rick, we're gonna have you transfer your headset. Get a chance to talk to Ryan Kane on this 84-69 win. Ryan Kane, congratulations.
Thank you.
Come in and knock off a pretty highly rated team. Let's talk about the start you guys got, 13-2 on that run. A couple of key threes from Johansson. Boy, things just really clicked to get it going in the first half. What'd you see in the scouting report that felt that you felt you could come out as strong as you did?
Yeah, I mean, John Carroll's very good program, very good team. They deserve the rankings, obviously coming off a great year, bringing a lot of pieces back. Last time we played a really good Salisbury team, but I wouldn't say that we were detail-oriented with how we started the game. I thought our effort was good, but I don't think we focused on the details the way our team typically does. And you could just tell, like, our guys had a way about them today where they were committed to focusing on the right things, the effort they played with, the physicality they played with, and the details that they had. And I think when you have that type of approach, when good players get good looks, they make shots, you know?
Ryan, you navigated the pressure pretty well as well. You had a few turnovers there as they got back in the game, but generally speaking, you navigated the press well. Who are the keys to drive to be able to
Yeah, I mean,
that?
Winley is as high of an IQ player as you're going to find. You know, we graduated or lost 2 primary ball handlers from last year's group, so we're definitely figuring out ball security from a certain standpoint. I think, you know, the way that we manage that primary ball handling position makes us a little dangerous because of our versatility. We don't have to have one guy bring the ball up and initiate offense, and I think that's how we broke the pressure, right? We had various guys that we used in different ways, you know, whether it was up the press or behind the press to break that, and our guys did overall a good job. As you mentioned, John Carroll's tough. They play hard. They compete. They really do come at you with pressure for 40 minutes, and our guys managed it well.
Congratulations. Enjoy it with your team. Hope you're having a great weekend in Grand Rapids. And
yeah, very much so.
Tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ryan Kane, head coach of the victorious Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. They knock off John Carroll 84-69 today. All right, that'll wrap it up. We'll take a break, and in about 24 minutes, come back and join you for the nightcap tonight. The host, Calvin Knights, look to get on the winning track against the Emory Eagles. That's coming up on the Calvin Sports Network.
Nice it.